Hi, this is Neil Walters with the website garden.com, and in the last video we talked about how we use Claude internally with our own tracking system here that was based on the old Pivotal Tracker. That was our model we used to make it. A very agile Scrum-based system where you basically put all your tasks here. And now we have it basically set where you can assign a task to a human or to an AI agent, okay? And so when I say Claude parentheses Neil, that's my AI agent as opposed to other AI agents we have out there. And so what I want to do right now in this video is to do this task right here. And I want to show you what we need to do in that task. So I'm going to go over the left side here and show you, we've added this recently too, where you can search the menu here. I want to go to something called All Task, and I want to open it on a new browser page. So we added that icon and we added the search capability there. And here I will include these and search. And just to pick one, for example, when I open this, it's not showing me who created it, and it's not showing me the task number. It's missing some things. Whereas if I go to this page, which is our current task, and I open something, then you can see at the bottom here who created it, when they created it. You can clone the task, you see the history, copy link, etc. So this is what I want it to copy over basically from this page to the other page. So again, I always treat it like it's a new programmer and I need to be really specific with it. So let's see if I can, no, I can't copy these. I'm going to actually tell it what to do now. So this was just a sample one I pulled up. So the one I'm looking for is this right here, Claude Neil. And I said what I wanted it to do. I cannot copy or paste the task or see the revision history. I think that's really all I need. So I'm going to say basically, I'm going to be more explicit here. Copy over the links called, and I want to give the exact names of these links down here. I don't want clone task because it's completed. So I want history, copy link, and I think the other one's called copy task ID. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to start up Claude. So I actually closed out of it first. I want to make sure I was in the right directory, which I am. That's my source code directory. And I'm going to do a git pull here. I think Claude is supposed to do that itself, but I just want to make sure I've got the latest. Oh, let me show you one more thing. Since I changed this task right here, we now put this little icon out here that indicates it's been modified. See, if you mouse over that, it says modified. So if we add a new task, or if we modify a task, or if we move it up or down, or if the task is waiting on a reply, we now put different icons on here just to kind of raise it to the attention of the person reading that page. Okay, it said there was no new task assigned. So let me show you what I had to do to fix that. I like to show you all the errors because that's where people learn. So here, Claude Neil, I apparently regenerated my token, and this is only showing part of the token. So I had to then go paste that token into my Python config file, and now I'm going to run the exact same thing again. So right here, I can just do the up arrow and say start next task again. There, see now it said, actually you can hit Control, I think O here, and you can see more detail. So it says I found the task ID. I saw the number here a minute ago. Yeah, so it's actually reading it. See, here's where I said show the created task, copy the display from here. I said these are the new links I need to copy over. So it basically got the text from my task, and that's task ID 756. And now it's running. It wants to run the bash command. And I haven't turned on, the let it do anything it wants to, so I still have to approve that I want to do basically a pull and create a branch, and I'm going to hit just enter to say yes there. And now I'm going to let it cook for a while. It may take anywhere from 3 to 10, 15 minutes. It just kind of depends on the task. While that's cooking, let's go over here. This is our velocity chart. So when you're using Scrum, you have a velocity chart that shows you how many points you did per week. And we assign every task basically a point system from 1 to 3. And you can basically see here, this is over 6 months. Or no, well, it's actually more like 8 months. June last year till February this year, or March 1st. And you can see in the last few weeks here how these basically the velocity has been going up. We had some weeks where it popped back down, then it would pop back up. And one reason that is I sometimes do some tasks and I have a full-time developer, but then some weeks I have more time and I do more tasks like what I'm showing you in this demo today. So basically, if you look over our history, we are now doing up to, say, 25, 30 points a week, whereas in the past, we only peaked over 20 points a week a couple of times in the last 6 months. So it's almost like I would say, we've doubled our output, basically, our throughput by using Claude here. And we still don't use it on every task. So when I assign a task to a person here, let me show you my thought process. Like this week, I had to find the right page here. This week, we're working on something called new JavaScript menus. So on one of my WordPress sites, I was using a tool called Uber Menu, and we had so many items on the menu, it was getting just too difficult to use. So basically, I asked my coworker, Orest, to work on that. And I don't think we really would have got a good result if we let Claude do that. And the other reason is actually it's on a WordPress site, whereas typically we only use Claude on our other sites that we have GitHub repositories set up. So we don't actually have a GitHub on our WordPress site. We use a backup utility that backs up all the code, of course, and everything, but we don't have that on GitHub. The other concept I have lots of times is like I'll assign the task to myself first, and then I'll come in and read it, and then I will reword it. If I think Claude can do it, I'll do like I did earlier today, where I just make it more specific, as we did in this one. I said here, like, I cannot see this link, and I said copy over these links, and I actually gave it the page before this video where to copy those links from. And so that basically just gives it more exactly what I want it to do. And at that point, then I could reassign it from myself to Claude, and then go to Claude and tell it to start working on it. That way, I think we just get better results. And we're learning as we go, of course. We don't want Claude to do everything. One of the next things I'm going to be working on is the plan mode in Claude, where basically I want Claude to start building his own task and putting them here into our task system. So we have to create yet another API for that, and I will use Claude to create that API, of course. And we'll get to that, another week or two probably. Just checking in with Claude over here. So this is what he's been doing. He's looking at the 2 different pages. He's reading files. He's looking for patterns. He's looking at the buttons, et cetera, et cetera. So he's been 4 minutes, and he'll keep working maybe a little while longer. Okay, so while Claude's doing that, I'll show you how I'm going to test it. I'm going to go here. I'm using a terminal manager here called Warp. I just heard about it on some videos recently, and I decided to give it a try. I'm still not totally sure, like here, what all the keyboard shortcuts are. Like there, I want to go to this directory, and then I want to change to server, and I'm going to say yarn dev. And that basically starts up the local version of the server on my own local machine so I can test the changes on my own branch. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to open another window, and I'm going to say, it looks like I'm in the same directory. So I want to go up, and then I want to go to client, and then I want to say yarn dev there. And that should give me my HTTP 3000. There it is, localhost 3000, which is where I will test the changes in a few minutes. Okay, so now Claude is asking me for input again. He says here, I have a clear picture, summary of the changes needed. He's just kind of repeating, but now he's tying it to certain programs that need to be changed. It looks like he has to change a SQL statement. And here's the SQL that he's changing. He has to retrieve those fields, obviously. So yes, I want him to make the change. Well, I should have clicked number 2. Number 2 would have said, yes, keep making all the changes you want. So that's what I'm going to do right here. Allow all edits during the session. Yeah, why not? There's another change. You can see this is how he's going to display the field, actually. Okay, so Claude seems to be happy with himself. He says, now let me verify the changes. Oh, the changes look correct. That's kind of cool. I don't know how he does that. He says, now let me commit and deliver. So what he's going to be doing is calling our API again using our skill, and he's going to be marking that this task is done. And that's particularly useful if 2 or 3 of us are working on the same site. We know that it's done. So eventually this could be all working in the background potentially, right? Where I don't even have to touch it. And we're probably working to that soon. Oh, so one more time here, he's asking me if I want to proceed. So what does it say here? Yeah, this is just his commit, and he's staging the files. I'm going to commit them. And then I'll show you what it does. Well, actually, we'll test it first. Then we'll show you what it did on GitHub here in a minute. One more thing it wants to do. Bash command. It's still doing the commits, I guess. No, it says co-authored by Sonnet 4.6. And so now I'm going to say yes. And now I think it's delivering the file. Wait here, no, wait. No, it's still doing now it's pushing the branch, yes. So up to this point, the branch was only on the local computer. Now the branch should be visible if I go to GitHub. There's the delivery of the task right there. And it seems like he would have learned from himself by now. Like he has to do this Python command a certain way. He tries it one way and it fails, and he says, oh, I'll try it another way. He tries it the other way and it works. So maybe I can update my MDs that he would remember how to do that from now on. And now it says sauteed for 15 minutes. Now I want to show you one more thing. If you actually exit out at this point, you get a summary of the costs. So the fact that I started Claude at the beginning of the video and you saw me start it, I think, this cost $1.30 to make this change. If a programmer had done it, it would probably be, I'm guessing, 30 minutes to an hour's worth of work. And of course, I'm making a video now. It's still probably 20 to 30 minutes of my work, but if I wasn't doing the video, it would go even faster, of course. So now I need to open the website on that local host. So I'm going to say here, HTTP, I don't know if it's HTTPS or not. Maybe, yeah, I guess it is. So now we're opening that site using the localhost URL up here, localhost:3000, and that's the dashboard, of course. And on the left side, I want to go to all tasks. I just type all, go to all task. I could pretty much pick any one of them. So let's just pick this one. Okay, there we go. There's the created date, created by, and a status date. I don't think we had the status date on the other web page, so that's kind of like something he added. You know, right here, it's kind of chopping off the AM, PM part. Oh, wait, that's my width of my screen. There you go. We're working on this too. We have some, what is called responsiveness issues. When I make the screen wider, everything appears, but sometimes when you shrink it down, it temporarily loses like a word or two. But then when you go even smaller, the left menu disappears, and you know, it's still pretty usable for that. And so this is our change. And then here I have the history and the copy link. So if I hit the copy link, and I go to another new browser page here, we're going to test to make sure it really did what it's supposed to do. So I'm just going to paste that link there, and you can see it has the task ID 667 built into the URL there. And I'm pretty sure that will work because we basically copied it from another page that was working before. So now he jumps over to the current task because that's the way we have it set up. When you specify this URL with a ID number, it jumps to current task and shows you the details of that task. So I'd say, yes, that's working. The other thing here is if you just want to copy the task ID only, and I just go up here, see it's called task-667, and that is what we would use if we were doing something on GitHub. So now, speaking of GitHub, let's go there. So I've already been logged on. This is my main repository for this site. And here at the top it says Neil Dev Task 756 has recent pushes 4 minutes ago. And so I'm going to click this button. And I've actually created a doc on Google Sheets that says this is our procedures. And I went over this with my, the guy I work with, or REST, and we agreed that this should be our procedure. So over here you can say, it says basically this is what it committed. I don't know why it says, oh, task page. It looks like it left off part of the word task there for some reason. I could actually change that, I suppose. It's the all task page. And I'm going to create a pull request, okay? And then basically, we'll just do that. I also have GitHub set up that when we do the merge on this, it will delete the dev branch automatically, which is one of the settings you can set up here. So there we've done that. And now I'm going to request the merge. No, I could do the merge myself. But what I usually do is then I'll turn this back over to my coworker and let him do the merge. And that way he can look at the code and he can see if Claude did anything bad or whatever. And he basically wrote all this code, therefore he's more familiar with it than me. So I basically was able to make the simple GUI change on the website, and then I will ask him to merge it, and then he'll merge it, and then as soon as it merges, it will automatically go to Vercel and be deployed, and we'll see it on the live website. And just to wrap things up, if I go back to the current task page, let's see where we are here. We always get the current task right there. It's always one of the links at the top. Okay, this was the task that Claude was working on right here. And it shows that it's basically been delivered, and it's up to me now to approve it. And so I've done my test, right, on my local machine, so I'm going to approve it. That's just a manual thing that like the project manager needs to do. Now there's no more buttons here because the task is approved, and that was this one. All tasks show date time completed. It's done and approved. And now really the only thing we need to do is have my coworker do the merge, and then that completes it. So that completes this video on how we're currently using Claude in conjunction with real humans and Claude all using the same task management system. And that way we have a consistent set of tracking. And also, let me show you one more thing here. When I open this, I'll show you what's pretty cool. We have an interface with GitHub here too. So every time someone does a commit or a push, it automatically puts that task-756 into the commit. And that's how we know that it all connects up. So besides putting these messages here about all the code pushes and all the pulls and the merges as well, you can also come up here and you get the link to the commit. And I thought that was clickable, but it seems to not be. But anyway, you can basically take that link. So we can basically take that link and come over here, a new tab. I've already signed on before to GitHub. And so basically this is commit that I did 2 hours. Well, I had some meetings I had to go to, so I'm back after a 2-hour pause here. And this is what it committed. And then actually here, you could see all the code changes if you want, which is what we could have seen on the other screen. It's just a quick way to go from our system back to the pulls and the commits. So that pretty much summarizes what we were intending to do today, how we use Git with our own website garden system. And of course, anybody that wants to be a customer of Website Garden can do the same thing. And you can track all your tasks here, both for humans and for agents or AI agents. So this has been Neil Walters, and we'll be telling you more in the future in the next video.